Guglielmo, I think, at least talks a big game. It's, you know, kind of up in the air, I think, how much experience he actually has. And I guess you're supposed to be like Fort Knox, or at least you act like it.
I have a very specific idea of who I think I am. Fiordiligi does. She knows when she's gonna get married, where she's got her whole life planned out to the T. And as she saw him in a picture or something, and she was like, "That's the man for me, and I'm gonna marry him." And she's so particular about her whole experience. But then it all gets turned upside down. So she has a great idea that her life is going to be perfect, and then it all comes unraveled when she meets probably her true love, who is actually Ferrando. So it's very funny.
And I don't know if Guglielmo really has a whole lot that he's thinking about, except your sort of typical brute. You know, I think Fiordiligi's great for now, and then if somebody else comes along, in which case it's Dorabella. But I think Dorabella, I think that whole thing is really a fling. I think it's Fiordiligi and Ferrando that really have, you know, true love happening. So Guglielmo is sort of your typical.
He's a guy. He's
he's just a guy. He's just different every time. I've done it 3 or 4 times, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we've all ended up back with our original girlfriends. But it's just been it's been ambiguous. I think there have been a couple of. I had one production that was definitely a happy ending. Somehow we just got over it, and then the others. The first production I did, this was Ed Berkeley, who was at Juilliard. We went to Juilliard together, and that was definitely not a happy ending. It was people were visibly scarred, and that's what. You know, it's so, like we were discussing before, it's so wide open to interpretation that we'll see what happens. We'll see what Elise wants to do with it, but it'll be interesting.
It's incredibly ambiguous.
Yeah.
The music is incredibly sublime. It is truly, but at the same time, there's elements that are unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
And there can be an aria like your big angry aria is just so provoking, and it's very fascinating how many different emotions it reveals.
And the thing is, even in the situations that seem the most silly, like when the Albanians have come back, you know, they've come back from near death, and they sing the most gorgeous aria. And they're, you know, some productions they have them being fanned by, you know, you look like people from a harem, you know, and they're singing this gorgeous duet, and they're still acting, but it's, you know, yeah, I mean, and another example, the ensemble before we finally go off to war, it sounds, it looks kind of silly because the girls are like getting all weepy and the guys are trying to still play their part, but in the music you can't, when you hear it, you know that's almost like a final farewell, like for real.
It's
like that's kind of like the end,
yeah.
right there.
The end of their original.
Yeah, that's the kind of yeah.
It can be unbelievably beautiful. I mean, to stand and sing it without the acting is still just the most beautiful music at times.
I'm back in Portland. I sang in Nixon and China here in 2006, and couldn't wait to get back. And finally, this opportunity came up. It's been great. It's been great. It's so cold out in Pennsylvania right now, where I'm from, and even though it's still pretty cold and rainy here, it's a lot warmer than it is out east.
And I just moved to Detroit, so to be here it's like a balmy spring day.
Yep.
So I'm really enjoying it here, and it's such a beautiful city. I had been here from Chamber Music Northwest for about a week, but to be here for an extended period of time and really to get a chance to know the city well, I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to my days off.